Hello everyone, and today we're going to do another carbon fiber overlay project for our 2021 Mustang GT. So, let's get started. And of course, the very first thing we got to do is remove the part from the vehicle. So we'll start with the floor console trim panels, and all you need is a trim wheel tool, and we'll pop these right out. So, there's one right there. And we'll go to the driver's side and do the exact same thing. And that was pretty easy. And now we can work our way up top and remove the storage area mat. So we'll set that aside, and then take a 7mm socket and an extension bar and remove the two bolts. So there's one right there, and we'll get the second one as well. And there's the second one. And next we'll take our trim wheel tool and remove the bezel for the shifter. And this price straight up, we just got to be very careful. So there's the front just a little bit, get my hand over there. Okay, so far so good. Alright, so that's popping out, now I'll work our way around. And it looks like we did remove the silver trim, but that's not a big deal. Snaps right back in. There we go. So everything looks like it's still intact. No issues there. Boot still looks good. Alright, not too shabby. And for our hardest step, we're going to lift the console lid. And then go back to the sides with that same 7mm socket and a socket wrench. And remove the two retaining screws on each side. So we'll get the second one. There we go. Go back to the driver's side. Same thing. And these do have a few threads on them, so bear with me. There's one, and there's number two. And now for the fun part, we need to release all those clips and pop this center console right out. So I'll take my trim removal tool, start with the bottom, start lifting. Well, that was a big one right there. Work my way around. Very nice. And I'll go to the passenger side, do the exact same thing. And we'll lift that E-brake up. Now in the center, I need to remove those connectors, so just keep that in mind. You got to take those out as well. And then lift this straight up, and it comes right out. So I flipped the part over because we need to still remove the cup holder, and it's being held down by 6 retaining screws. And you can see them all in silver right there, and it takes a T20 Torx. So I'll take that same socket wrench and extension bar and take all 6 of them out. So there's 5 and 6. And the cup holder lifts straight out. Still in good shape, nothing scratched. And we got that little trim piece as well, and this is kind of embedded in there, so that pops right out as well. There we go. And of course I'm using a blanket so I don't scratch anything up. So now that I finally get to sit down, let's go ahead and scuff up the surface. And I'll start with 120 grit sandpaper. We'll just start by sanding the whole surface. And the whole idea is you want to give the resin something to bite into. So we're going to start with 120 grit and make sure we get every nook and cranny covered. So now that the surface is nice and fuzzy, we'll take our utility knife and we'll start scoring the surface, also known as keying. And we're going to do little X patterns or hatch patterns. Again, this is just to give the resin something to really bite into. We want to give the best possibility for this to be successful. And that looks pretty good right there. So let me bring it in, that way you can see what I see. And looking at the surface, yep, we got a nice amount of cuts into it, which is good. And also the surface looks rough, that's exactly what we want. I think we can keep moving forward. Next, we're going to clean the surface with our IPA, or rubbing alcohol. And not just having an easy squeeze bottle, but you can use the regular bottle that comes from the store. Now I'm going to douse this as much as possible. You can never have too much. And then we'll take our microfiber cloth and just wipe everything down, just to make sure we got all that dust and debris taken away. And for our next method, this is a little odd, but it's necessary for this type of material. It's a TPO, which is a thermoplastic polyolefin, in which sadly it has very low surface energy, meaning adhesives and paints have a hard time sticking or adhering to it. So by using the torch, we're able to bring all these chemicals and mold releases out of the plastic, as well as help purify the part as much as possible. And just as an FYI, you don't have to do this method on all plastics, it's just a handful of them that really fight you. So now let's add some standoffs to our parts. The whole idea is we want to make this suspended in the air, and we're going to use some wooden dowels. These are just ones I had laying around from a different project. So all I have to do is just use my glue gun, add a little bit of glue to the bottom, and then we'll stick it right in the center right there. And we'll do the same thing on the back end as well, but we're going to pretty much try to make a tripod. Then we'll flip it over. It looks like it's balanced pretty good. And once again, we're going to grab that same IPA rubbing alcohol, and we're going to douse the part again. This is just to make sure there's no dust that landed on the part during the torching process, as well as if there's any chemicals that were brought to the surface, this will be the last chance to remove them. So we let our part sit for about 30 minutes. Let's grab our resin. So we have a clear laminating resin and then a fast hardener. You're going to use a fast hardener for this because we're going to do a lot of layers. And then we got a whole bunch of these measuring cups. For this one, I'm going to need about 90 milliliters of resin. So 60 milliliters of epoxy and then 30 milliliters of hardener. It's a 2-to-1 ratio. So we're going to use 90 milliliters total. So off camera, I used the lines and filled up with resin and hardener. And I'll take my mixing stick and we'll mix it for 2 minutes. Definitely do not rush this step. Now for this one, I am going to omit the black pigment I usually use. Since the part is already black, we really don't need to add that to it. So I'm going to omit it just for this one. So continue mixing for that 2 minutes. That looks pretty good. Set that down, and we'll grab a chip brush. These are really cheap. Unfortunately, since they are cheap, some of these little bristles do come out very easily. So I try to go through and get all the loose bristles out, because if not, you got to kind of, yeah, see, look at that. So if not, it's going to stick to your part, and you kind of go through it and pick them out one by one. Real pain. So mixing it up, we'll just apply a nice thin coat of this resin right on the part. It's pretty much like painting a house. And we'll go through and make sure we have a nice even coat. You do see some drips from the cup. That's not a big deal. Just going to brush them all out. And that looks like we're off to a good start. So about after an hour and a half to 2 hours have passed, we'll zoom in. So that looks pretty good. It's tacky, but not transferring to my glove. So let's move our cardboard because we don't really need it right this second. We're going to set it aside because we're going to use it again. And now we can pull out our reflective orange carbon fiber. And very gently, I'm going to lay this right on the part and go very slow and smooth right over it, not to create too many wrinkles. Slow and patience is the name of the game. So I use the scissors obviously to kind of prevent any way of this snagging. Alright, so everything looks like it's laid up top really nice. Nice and smooth. And then we'll work my way to the edges and then cut off all the excess carbon fiber. I'm going to leave pretty much an inch of overhang. That way I can tape it underneath later on. And for now, let's grab our release fabric. And obviously you can see I pre-cut these the length already off camera, but it's not very difficult to do. And I'm just going to lay it right on top and flip this part over so I can get under it without it sticking to the table. And that looks pretty good right there, so I'm going to use it just as a blanket for now. Let's remove those standoffs. And we are going to reuse them, so I'm not going to throw them away quite yet. And I'll grab my tape, fold the carbon fiber over, and kind of tuck it right underneath the part. This is definitely going to be messy and time consuming, but it's necessary. And that definitely looks pretty rough, so let's take our release fabric and wrap it up. I'm going to go over the edges. I don't want any carbon fiber really exposed. If we do, it will stick to the vacuum bag we have right here. And this is definitely a large vacuum bag, very cheap. It's pretty much one of those storage bags used to like store blankets and stuff. And obviously we have some breather fabric. Same length as the bag. I have 2 pieces already pre-cut out, and we're going to sandwich this between the part. So what I'm going to do is open up the bag and just stuff it right in there. I'm going to try to flatten it out, so bear with me. Alright, so there's the bottom half of the sandwich. Getting the meat and potatoes in there. Looks pretty center. We'll get that breather fabric right on top of it. Okay, looks pretty good. We'll zip it up. Take our vacuum, and we'll see about taking this cap off and suction all the air out of it. Now this does come with a pump, and you can use it if you wish, but I'm using a vacuum for now just to get the initial amount of air out of it. Okay, now of course we'll take that same pump I just mentioned, and we'll tighten this up a little bit more. The vacuum does okay, but the hand pump really goes a little further. Yeah, you can see it tighten up a lot more. Look at that. So we'll unscrew that right off. Put our cap back on. So far, so good. Flipping it over, let's take a look at it. Oh yeah, that's definitely a great sign. Yeah, I think this might come out pretty good. And after letting this sit overnight, about 8 hours, it looks like it's still holding a vacuum, which is awesome. Everything feels pretty stiff. Oh yeah, everything looks pretty good. So let's let the air in. There we go. See if we can unbag this without ripping anything apart. Now this breather fabric's kind of stuck to it, but the idea is you want to use the release fabric and release it from the part, because that should come off a lot easier. And as you can see, it's coming apart pretty decent. Here comes the easy part. Check this out. And let me get in front of the camera. One good yank. There we go. And looking at the part, let me put the cardboard down. That way you get a better visual. This table's kind of rough. There we go. So setting it down. And I know it looks rough around the edges, but around the top, this is really good. So let's go ahead and clean up these edges. I'm going to take that utility knife. I'm going to cut away all that excess we had from earlier. So I'm just going to go along it very slowly and then peel it away. The more you cut away now and clean up, the less you're going to have to cut away later when there's resin covered into it. And little by little it's come together, so let's flip it over once again and install those standoffs. It's probably the last time I'm going to use these things. So I'm going to do the exact same spots, just because since it works once, we'll do the same spots again. Okay, lifting it up very gently, try not to damage anything. Flip the cardboard over, and we're going to use that same crappy side we already got resin on. Okay, make sure it's centered. And then we'll grab those same small mixing cups from earlier, but this time I want to fill it to about 150 milliliters of epoxy and hardener. Just because this carbon fiber eats a lot more of it up. It soaks it up more. Get those bristles out of our chip brush. And then we'll apply about 7 coats of top coat. And the same thing as earlier, we're going to paint it on as much as we can. And we're going to do this about 90 minutes to 2 hours between coats. It all depends on the temperature, and that's why I'm using fast hardener. Because with the fast hardener, I can do it with about every 90 minutes and get all these coats done in one day. So the first coat goes on very nicely. Starting to get a little shine. And again, I want to check in between each coat before I apply. So zooming in, do a quick check. Nice and tacky, and it doesn't transfer in my glove. So zoom back out, and let's apply our second coat. And just an FYI, I am going to use about the same amount of resin for every coat, just because I'd rather have too much than too little. And after letting this cure for 24 hours, let's pry it up. Whew, that was on there pretty good. Let's get these standoffs off. Ooh, man, those are on there really good. So looking at this, this is very sharp. It's ripping my gloves, and I'll show you why. Look at the edges. We got a bunch of icicles we got on these things. Look at this. Part looks good, but edges look definitely really rough, definitely dangerous. So we're going to cut all this away and clean this part up. So I'm going to start by grabbing my rotary tool, also known as a Dremel tool. I'm going to start cutting away all these little icicles, make it easier to sand. And that looks like the last hanger. So I'll grab my power sander and 120 grit sandpaper and we'll smooth these edges right out. Basically I want to sand it almost down to where I can see the part. And those outer edges look pretty good. So let's take our rotary tool and start working on these inner edges. Start seeing if we can start perfecting the part. Alright, so now it's time for me to break a sweat. I'm going to grab a little eraser and some 240 grit sandpaper. I'm going to start sanding the top surface. When you add this many layers of resin, you start getting really bad orange peel. So to flatten it out, we use a block and sandpaper. Now you can do this by hand, but I'm going to use the sander itself once I get to the sides just because they're flatter. On the top, I'll use the block, but on the sides, I'm going right to the sander just because it's going to take a while. That doesn't look too shabby there. So now we can move our way to 400 grit sandpaper and do the exact same thing. We're going to take those scratches and make them slightly smaller. So far so good. Now let's grab our water and then our 600 grit sandpaper. And we're going to continue to do the same thing, but we're going to wet sand it. So let's dip it in water, soak our part, and get to sanding. And after rinsing off the part, letting it dry, let's check to see how it looks on the stand. Yeah, it might work. Let's take a glue gun and put a little bit of glue there. Keep it from falling off while we're spraying it. And that should work right there. So we'll take that same IPA or rubbing alcohol and wipe our part down once again. This will make sure there's no soapy water left behind or any dust that's left on the part before adding the clear coat. If not, yeah, you definitely will see some imperfections underneath. So for our clear coat, we're going to use a 2K clear, so make sure you have your respirator, spray gun, and this is a 4-to-1 ratio. Don't need much. We're going to apply 2 coats. So I'll get a nice little mid to light coat at first. We're going to wait about 10 minutes because it is a little cold, and we'll apply our second coat. This one's going to be a little bit thicker and heavier, so this is going to be like a medium to heavy coat. That looks pretty good. Make sure, of course, we get our edges. And we let the part sit for 24 hours, and overall, if you look at the top, it looks really good. Unfortunately, we have an issue. On the sides, you can see the creases because I used 1 sheet of fabric. It was definitely a huge rookie mistake on my part.
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
And as you can see, it's on both sides, but it's mostly at the bottom. And for those of you who have great attention to detail, yep, the retaining clips were replaced because they were covered in resin. So it's pretty much an easy swap. So let's see if we can address the discoloration on the side of the part. I don't really want to chuck this yet, but it's not perfect and I don't want to put imperfection on the vehicle. So I'm going to scuff up the surface of this clear coat with 600 grit sandpaper. And I'm using a scuff pad as well, just getting the nook and crannies a little easier. And the same procedure as earlier, take a rubbing alcohol and drench the part just to make sure we have no residue left behind. Okay, looks pretty good right there. And now, let's grab some black paint. I want to try something I've never tried before. And I want to put a little bit of black paint on the edges. Kind of let it blend in, go from black to carbon fiber. Almost like a little blending process. I'm just going to go along the bottom here. I'm going to try to go as very nice and gently as I can. Not too bad. Let's go to the other side as well. Same thing. So far, it's not looking too bad. Okay, not too shabby right there. Now zoom in. I want to grab my airbrush and I'll see if I can get right around where the e-brake is. I want to try to see if I can get this blending looking really good. And I think that'll do it right there. So we'll wait about an hour, let that dry. Then we'll grab a tack cloth and we'll start wiping down the surface. I don't want to use rubbing alcohol or IPA because it may take off the black paint because it hasn't fully cured yet. But by using a tack cloth, we'll get all that loose dust as well as some of that loose black paint left behind. Same thing as earlier, I'm going to take the same amount of clear coat and we're going to clear coat it once again. So we'll get second coat on, waiting 10 minutes in between. Get all of our sides, obviously. And after waiting 24 hours, so let's reassemble and put it on the vehicle. We'll start by getting the cup holder trim in there, press fit. Then we'll line up our cup holder with the holes. Very nice. Take those same screws from earlier, T20 Torx bit, and tighten them up. We just want them snug. And there's a little glimpse of what we're looking at, looking really stylish. And now we can install it right in the vehicle. And it's going to be the reverse order as earlier. So we'll put those connectors back in, snap the center console in place, snap in the shifter bezel, and then we'll install all the screws, get them nice and snug, and torque them to 18 inch-pounds. Put that interior trim right back in, snaps right in the same way we took it out. Go to the passenger side, do the same thing, torque them. Take that interior panel, snap it back in. Very easy. Go to the top, do the same thing, 18 inch-pounds. And don't forget the storage area mat. And then going back to our e-brake, put that down. And then our second hard step, close the lid, and then admire our work. Well, if you found this video entertaining, please like, subscribe.